You have likely seen them, the self-proclaimed debunkers of quackery, tearing into traditional Ayurvedic medicine across social media. It is exhausting to watch your life's work reduced to a punchline by people who have never set foot in your clinic. When you see these attacks, the instinct is to fight back. You want to jump into the comment sections and fire off a passionate, defensive response to prove them wrong. That is the insult trap. Engaging in a heated, emotional argument is exactly what the critics are waiting for. It allows them to paint traditional practitioners as reactionary and unscientific, which strictly reinforces the narrative they are trying to build against you. The root of this conflict runs much deeper than internet trolls. This diagram shows an abstract scale representing academic credibility. On one side, we place a massive stack of your clinical observation data. But watch how the scale immediately tips in the opposite direction. This is epistemic injustice, a systemic framework where your clinical observations are automatically assigned a credibility deficit, simply because of the medical tradition they come from. Overcoming this ingrained institutional bias requires stepping away from the keyboard. You cannot win an emotional shouting match. You have to master the critic's intellectual playbook and dismantle it from the inside out. The first page of that playbook relies on scientism. This is the rigid dogma that the only valid way to arrive at medical truth is through reductionist Western biochemical models. Anything outside that specific lens is automatically dismissed. This leads directly to the validation trap. Look at this diagram representing medical research models. We have a complex, asymmetrical shape representing highly individualized, multi-component Ayurvedic care. Critics demand this holistic care be forced into a rigid square hole, representing standard randomized controlled trials. By aggressively jamming this complex care into an incompatible framework, the treatment is completely crushed. The vital, individualized data is violently stripped away. When the methodology fails to capture the nuance of the practice, critics pivot to a second tactic, toxicity spin, or what researchers call spin for harms. Detractors retrospectively misapply modern diagnostic tools to overstate negative findings. They definitively blame an Ayurvedic herb for an adverse patient event, even when causality is completely absent. Then they expand that blame. If a specific commercial product has heavy metal contamination due to poor manufacturing standards, critics intentionally frame that external factory lapse as a fundamental failure of Ayurvedic medical principles themselves. The supposed evidence used to debunk your practice is rarely a clean scientific takedown. It is largely a manufactured byproduct of mismatched methodology combined with deliberate data manipulation. This manipulation is amplified by an uneven playing field at the institutional publishing level. Global research databases actively suppress traditional medicine data. This visualization illustrates the scale of indexing bias. Here is a massive grid of document icons representing global complementary and alternative medicine research. Watch as a sweeping line passes over the grid, instantly graying out 90% of the research. Major databases simply do not index the vast majority of these journals. Because of this massive exclusion, the remaining illuminated documents shrink down into a microscopic, easily ignored dot. Your positive efficacy research is essentially rendered invisible. To make matters worse, major medical journals operate under what is known as a hot stuff bias. Editors systematically prioritize sensational, controversial toxicity reports for publication. A flashy paper claiming a traditional herb caused liver failure will get fast-tracked, while standard positive efficacy trials demonstrating that same herb's benefits are routinely ignored. You are operating within an institutionalized system designed to hide your clinical successes while spotlighting highly spun controversies. Arguing with critics in an online comment section will never fix a structural data blackout. The modern Vaidya's response to these insults must be an aggressive, pragmatic upgrade in research literacy. You need a counter playbook. The first step is to stop trying to fit Ayurveda into standard RCTs. You must actively advocate for and participate in research designs that actually align with Ayurvedic logic. Look at this flowchart outlining an N-of-1 trial structure. It maps a single patient pathway, alternating between highly personalized treatment phases and strict observation phases. Models like this, stepped wedge designs, and black box models successfully capture the efficacy of individualized care without sacrificing scientific rigor. The second step is to champion strict quality control. When critics raise valid safety concerns about contaminated products, address them pragmatically, not defensively. Push for mandatory full chemical analysis in your supply chains. You have to clearly separate the intrinsic healing properties of the herbs from extrinsic issues like poor manufacturing and adulteration. Keep the landscape in perspective. Here is a side-by-side comparison of two academic journals, Standard Oncology and CAM Research, both carrying identical warning labels. Data manipulation and spin are pervasive across all medical disciplines, including cardiology and oncology. They are not unique to traditional medicine. Do not let aggressive rhetoric force you into a biomedical cage. Anchor your practice in evidence-informed healthcare. Champion medical pluralism, and let the undeniable results of your clinical work speak louder than their online noise.